We're now joined by David Boggs. He's the Managing Director for Energy Maritime Associates. Good morning, David.
Morning.
How are you today?
Okay, very good.
Good, thank you. David, we want to get your assessment on the current state of the FPSO sector. Can you share some thoughts on this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, based on our latest research, the backlog for floating production orders is now at an all-time high. There's actually about 74 floating production units, which is FPSOs as well as TLPs, spars, and other floating production units currently being worked on. This is even higher than the previous peak back a few years ago. So the market is quite busy, and right now all signs seem to be that as long as the price of oil stays relatively high, say above $60, $70 a barrel, that it should continue with the robust growth.
Now, we know you are very knowledgeable about the subject of contract negotiation. Can you tell us the common pitfalls of contract negotiation? What are the usual causes of disputes?
A lot of times the causes of the pitfalls and problems are because both sides don't really understand what the other side is trying to achieve. Oftentimes people think it's a win-lose situation, that it's a zero-sum game, which isn't really the case, especially for these kind of projects, that nobody benefits from late delivery or cost overruns or quality issues. So it's a matter of trying to find a win-win solution where both sides can work together cooperatively and profitably.
Can you tell us some of the ways to minimize, if not totally avoid these disputes? Are there some best practices that you can share?
I would say in general, it's important to get to know your client and also get to know your contractor first. And that process should take some time, not just something that happens over the course of a tender. It's really something that needs to develop over an extended period of time. And I think now a lot of companies are doing extended FEED studies in which they can get 2-3 contractors together and pay to have them work on a project for, say, 6 months. So that way they can do more extended research, and also they can then get to know each company better and understand their strengths and weaknesses, and then be able to do a more comprehensive evaluation rather than in the past where you had a very quick tender and people just judged based on lowest price.
In your opinion, what role will Asia be playing in the future development of the industry? Will China play a big role in this?
I think Asia will continue to play a very big role. Obviously, Singapore plays a large role in the conversion market for FPSOs. Korea plays a huge role in the new build market. China already does a large number of conversions for FSOs and FPSOs, and I think that will continue. Although there are some challenges in that a lot of countries now are implementing local content requirements, particularly Brazil, but also now Indonesia, West Africa. So it's a matter of how you can adapt to those local requirements while still being cost competitive and meeting the schedule. But no, I think it still looks very vibrant for most of Asia.
Good. Now, looking ahead, how will the FPSO sector evolve in the next couple of years?
That's an interesting question. I think as you see, as a lot of the projects become deeper and deeper waters and further offshore, more complicated, harsh weather, larger, more complicated oil fields, the FPSOs are getting larger and larger. So you have a lot of these projects now that are $1 billion, $2 billion. So I think you see one end of the FPSO market becoming very large, very complex. But then at the other end, you still have marginal oil fields, particularly in Southeast Asia, where it still can be profitable to develop these smaller oil fields. And in that case, you need something that's smaller, more flexible, more creative. So I think you're going to see a segmenting more of the market between some very, very large, complicated projects on the one end that may end up being more owner-operated and owned, and then smaller FPSOs that are more leased on a shorter-term basis. So I think you'll see more and more segmentation along those lines.
Well, thank you so much for that very thoughtful observation, David. That was David Boggs, Managing Director, Energy Maritime Associates. Thank you, David. Have a nice day.
Thank you.